G'day there folks, it's Connor here again from Marky Industries and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Anyway, hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight to the stories. Alrighty folks, kicking things off on Am I the A-hole, this one was written by user PrankUser and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for punching my stepdaughter after she played a prank on me that scared me? I know the title sounds bad, but please read and throw away plus fake names. I, 38 male, married Judd, 44 female, a few years ago, and I acquired a stepdaughter, Abby, 14, as a result. I dated Judd when Abby was 8, met her when she was 9, and married Judd when she was 10. I'd say our relationship is okay. She doesn't act bratty towards me and respects me enough as her mum's husband. However, there is one glaring issue about her, and that is her pranking nature. Abby loves to pull pranks. Some examples are her hiding my keycards with what looked like 100 dubs in a box. I found them quickly because she failed to notice my keys have duct tape on them. Another one is when she hid in the fridge, something I still find very weird, to scare the first person who opened it. Well, last Wednesday I arrived home and it seemed that I was the only one there. Only my shoes were at the doorstep and I even called out Judd and Abby's names with no answer. This is somewhat normal as Judd sometimes works late and Abby stays at school for extracurriculars, so I screwed around with my dog, a German Shepherd and Husky mix for anyone that will ask, for a bit, and then I decided to relieve myself. When I got to the bathroom, I noticed that the window cabinet was open. I first thought nothing of it and unzipped my pants, but then I saw a shadow behind the shower curtains. I thought the worst and immediately punched the figure behind the curtains. Well, as everyone may have guessed it from the title, it was Abby. She was making a prank video and I had not noticed that she'd propped up her phone on the bathroom cabinet with 2 cups. I'm not gonna lie, I did not hold back. I punched her as hard as I could. Her nose looked broken and when I realized it, I flipped out and so did she. After maybe 5 minutes of freaking out, I drove her to urgent care and informed Judd of the situation. Her nose was indeed broken and would need about 6 to 12 weeks of recovery. Abby won't talk to me, and as for Judd, she thinks that my action may have been justified, but also thinks I should have approached it with more caution, which she has refused to elaborate on. So, am I the a-hole? Oh wow, yeah, she's probably refused to elaborate because she knows she can't really blame you. Like Opie thought there was an intruder in the house, and it happened to be Abby. I feel like this is just an accident. Might teach Abby a lesson about sneaking up on people as well. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. Get a copy of the video. If Abby starts being to people about how her stepdad broke her nose, you're looking at jail time. Get and keep a copy of the evidence that she startled you while you were peeing. You need to sit Judd and Abby down and have a serious conversation. Filming without consent while someone is in the bathroom is a massive invasion of privacy and illegal in many places. If she did this to another kid, it could be considered child porn. While you're in the bathroom, you feel vulnerable with having your pants pulled down and genitals out. Those feelings increase the fight and flight part of the brain and that you reacted on instinct. Please include to Abby that you love her and never meant to hurt her. Not the a-hole. What did the girl expect would happen? It's a very natural reaction to a startle or scare. Maybe she's learnt a lesson now. Also, filming in the bathroom? That's just messed up. She really can't do that. Film the wrong person and it's a felony. This is so unfortunate. People get killed for this crap. She's lucky she's alive. That's the normal reaction, to fight. As messed up as this is, stick firm because this is a life lesson. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Fortunately, it's all on tape, right? So you're protected. What she did is actually what's unforgivable. Her dumb antics are going to get someone killed or put in jail. Her mother needs to address this. Not one more prank, ever. How stupid does a 14-year-old have to be to not know that recording someone in the bathroom without their consent is a very bad idea? And what was the stupid prank? Boo, I scared you, so I'm going to put your reaction and pee-pee on social media. Hee hee. Not the a-hole, but you might want to get legal advice, lawyer, before a false and more sinister version gets circulated. Not the a-hole. If everything went as you said and Abby regularly pranks people, something like this was bound to happen at some point. Although incredibly unfortunate, as others have noticed, she was lucky this didn't get her killed. There are stories all the time about kids getting shot in the face for turning up unannounced at the wrong door. Hopefully she's learned her lesson and will stop doing these things once and for all. I would like to add that I find prank culture incredibly wrong. A joke should make all parties ultimately happy. Stress and fear can have serious mental and physical consequences, and the three of you could benefit from family therapy and mediation to work through this experience towards a better relationship. Okay, some good advice. Opie updates 11 days later. Well, this blew up big time. Let's address a few things. Abby's pranking nature isn't just situated on me. She's pulled pranks on her friends, the neighbours, and at school. The school has called Judd several times about this as they have resulted in mild vandalism. The refrigerator prank. She was 11 when that happened, not a grown teenager. It was a brand new and very large fridge that my uncle bought and showed it off to everyone. So she climbed in until he opened it again. Judd yelled at her, saying that she could have suffocated in there, and took her outside to scold her for a few hours. The video itself. The video doesn't show the toilet at all, just the shower curtain. However, the issue still remains that this was a massive invasion of privacy. The video has been deleted, and Abby has admitted it was purely her fault. The update. It's been a chaotic week. Judd still refused to elaborate on how the situation should have been handled. I showed the post as a result, and she did a 180 turn. She suddenly thought it may be time to stage an intervention, and I agreed. We brought some of her friends, as well as my cousin's wife, Jess. Jess is an officer from another state, and Abby seems to respect her. In this intervention, we state how we were each affected by her various pranks, and how in turn they affected her. Jess also spoke about how much of these pranks border on criminal territory, meaning she could be arrested or face retaliation. It seemed to have gotten to her, and Abby cried a bit and promised to do better. When everyone else left, Jess stayed behind and brought to our attention about a disciplinary camp that we could send her to. The program is 6 weeks long and involves group therapy, individual therapy, and constructive projects, whatever that means, and is held at a university campus. The program apparently has good reviews. Judd seems dead set in sending her to figure out her core problems. I'm a little hesitant about sending a kid away from home, but I'm the step-parent, so I got no say. Edit. Okay, I swear Judd must be following my post now because she's taking back what she said and is now thinking about doing what I and you fellow Redditors suggested in the first place, weekly therapy. So we agreed that I'm going to find a therapist and I'm going to front the bill for it since she didn't take this seriously in the first place. Yeah, maybe sending her away to a camp is a little bit extreme. This comment agrees with me. Sent away seems extreme. Have you looked into this program? Is it held at a religious college? She might just end up abused at some of these types of teen rehabilitation camps and also just exposed to kids that are worse. I realise it might not be your call, but I would suggest to try local therapy first, way before sending a kid off. Opie says, and I agree, sending a kid away from home will probably just damage them more, but Judd seems intent on dishing out the harshest punishment immediately, thinking that this will nip it in the bud, or she doesn't want to be seen as an enabler. She changed opinions real fast when I showed her the original post. Opie comments on why he chose physical violence. Well, I thought she was a junkie who invaded my home, but okay, I'll be more cautious next time. Enlighten me, what steps should I take next time? Wait, why do you have to pay for her kid's therapy when she didn't take her behaviour seriously? That doesn't make any sense. Opie says, because she doesn't know how to find therapists. She just wants to send Abby away. Another comment says, hasn't she ever heard of Google? Sounds like weaponized incompetence. Opie says the program is free. Jess said that she could enroll Abby in for free. That most definitely played a part in Judd wanting to send her there. Not sure who Jess is. I'm assuming that's Judd and just a slip-up. Okay, now for a final update. Well, it's been 7-ish months and there have been a few developments. Let's address some more things before getting there. Up until recently, I've still been getting DMs asking why is this brat still in my house, why am I friends with Jess, and why did I name my wife Judd in my posts. I was drinking when I made my first post. I saved a draft and went back to it after a few hours of sobering up, fixing a bunch of grammatical mistakes, but clearly some got overlooked and it just stuck. I was planning on calling her Judy. Jess and I are not friends. She's married to my cousin, who I do have a good relationship with, as well as their 2 daughters and Jess's daughter. Jess has a serious problem with boundaries. Oh, what? I'm so confused. Sorry, Jess is the officer from before, right? Ah, my bad. I thought he was talking about his wife again. Sorry, all the names get confusing after a while. Moving on. As for why Abby was still living with me, you have to understand. I, her stepfather, broke Abby's, my stepdaughter's, nose. If word got out, it would look really bad. I would be seen as an abuser and may have even been arrested. Several comments have pointed this out, how I should have saved that video for my own safety. I was pretty much going insane at that point, and my wife thought nothing of it, thinking I should have just let this go until I showed her my original post. To be honest, I wanted to keep the intervention that we had smaller, that didn't involve her friends, because I felt they did not need to know about it. I just wanted her grandparents and Jess to show up, but I was convinced otherwise. Updates. We decided that we would send Abby to weekly therapy. We were under the agreement that I would find and pay for it, and if it worked, my wife would pay me back. It did work. Abby improved by a lot. She's realized how much damage she has done and working to improve things. She's even begun to do volunteer work as well, which I didn't think she would do. She has apologized profusely, realizing how disgusting her prank was. She's also deleted her TikTok account, claiming that's where she got all the ideas from. We decided we would get her a new smartphone for her birthday 3 months ago for the improvement she's shown. We took away all smart devices as punishment. I don't think I mentioned that before. As for me and my wife, I gave her an ultimatum. Since therapy worked for Abby, it would be time we go to couples therapy, or else we separate. We were having problems before this whole incident showed up, and now it kinda has to be forced. Past 2 years we've been living more like roommates, and her enabling behaviour is finally causing things to fall apart. She reluctantly agreed. It ended up being short-lived. She spoke during our sessions how I take things out of proportion and I went too far posting the incident online. She revealed that she was indeed following my posts, and that's why she changed her mind about the camp. Our therapist then asked us both if we loved each other at all. I was honest and said yes, but it's becoming difficult. My wife, on the other hand, said she was in love with the idea of me. I needed a minute if I heard that right, and she went on how I was apparently a catch. I was younger than her, had a stable job and owned a house, and she thought my loyalty was a bonus. I don't know why, but I asked her if she cheated on me, and she said no. But it doesn't matter. She just revealed that she settled for me. I filed for divorce 2 months ago. We had a prenup, so things are going smoothly, other than her erroneously claiming some jewellery as hers, but my lawyer seems to think that it should be finalised within 1 to 2 months. So my soon-to-be ex has moved out, along with Abby. My dog misses them. She just sits by the door waiting for hours for them to come back. Soon-to-be ex is not happy about how things have progressed. She's been calling me a spineless idiot who couldn't just tolerate how things are, and has been saying to everyone who will listen. But behind closed doors, she's been blaming Abby for her divorce, claiming it was her behaviour that caused it. I know this because she's called me and texted me semi-regularly. Abby is living with her grandparents because apparently her mother can't deal with her right now. I actually liked my in-laws. They were real good people, never apologised for their daughter's actions, and even offered to reimburse me for Abby's therapy sessions. They told me that they were going to take care of Abby because it seems her mother has finally lost it. I spoke with Abby and assured her that this wasn't her fault. Chances are we were going to divorce regardless. She then told me that she didn't want me to leave and that I was the closest thing to a father she's ever had. This surprised me. I never really saw myself as a parental figure for Abby. I only really did the minimal. Outside of that, I just paid for school events, supplies, and would carve out some time for her, but I did leave it up to her if she wanted to spend time with me. I told her that maybe when she turns 18 we can pick up where we left off, but until then I don't think we can see each other. Her mother would definitely try to keep her away from me, and to be honest, I need some time away from Abby as well. Things are so quiet at home that it's relaxing. So there you go. I don't even care if my soon-to-be ex finds this post. One commenter says, yes, if your kid is struggling with behaviour, the best thing to do is blame them for the divorce you caused by admitting you don't love your partner. Way to go, Judd. There are very few times you should tell a child they caused a divorce, even if they actually did. like it would have to be amazingly egregious. I have a feeling that OP, his in-laws and Abby's therapist have all likely been on the same page about making sure Abby knows that her mum is not of sound mind right now, and that she did not have anything to do with the divorce, so at least all of the sane adults in her life are telling her otherwise. I do absolutely love how Judd's or Judy's parents basically said, yeah, so we're really sorry our daughter was a total a-hole to you. We've been concerned for years that she may have had a few screws coming loose. It would seem as though those screws have fallen out entirely and are now missing. Sorry about that. Thank God they stepped in and took Abby. Just when she started getting back on the right path, her mum basically imploded their entire lives. I mean, who says they aren't in love with their husband, to their husband, and then yells at him for being a spineless idiot who couldn't just tolerate things the way they were? Abby is definitely better off away from her mother. Yeah, she sounds like a right battle axe, that's for sure. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts about this one? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe you've been in a similar situation with a prank before. I hope not, for your sake. Anyway, we're going to leave that story there and move on to another one. Alright, this next one was written on the Raised by Narcissist subreddit. It was written by user BSG Bramley, and it's titled, My mum went from normal to narcissist in an hour. This weekend, I found out my mum is not a normal mother and is a narcissist or maybe a full-blown sociopath. For you to understand the full ramifications of what she has told me, I will go into a bit of a backstory, but scroll the line if you wish to skip this. I was raised by a single mum in a very close-knit family. My grandma married my grandpa when my mum was 6, and they've been a loving family ever since. Yes, this means when I say granddad in this post, I mean my mum's stepdad. When my mum was 30, she had me. My dad was never in the picture. I was told he was a married man whom my mum was seeing. One day he turned around and said he didn't want to see her anymore and wanted to try and make the relationship with his wife work for the sake of his kids. He vanished and mum never saw him again, and soon after, mum found out she was pregnant. She decided that she wouldn't tell her parents the guy's name, wouldn't tell him unless he called her as it wasn't her place to destroy a family, and wouldn't put his name on the birth certificate to prevent any possible future custody battles. She wanted me to herself. My grandparents helped her through the pregnancy while also looking after my granddad's dad, so my mum suggested they move in together into a house they called 4 Generations, and that's where we lived until I was 6, where my mum met my stepdad, and we moved to live as a 3, me, mum, and my stepdad. My stepdad has his quirks, and as a new parent myself, I don't think these quirks would be acceptable to me. He was a stern, old-school, do-as-I-say type who told me, I don't want to be your father, but I'll be your friend. He is disabled, so couldn't be overly active, so after dinner, him and my mum would watch TV. I could watch with them, but I wasn't allowed to have an input in what they watched. I watched what they did, which would be a law show I didn't care about, or go to my room and do my own thing. As a dad myself, I couldn't dream of getting with anyone who didn't want to be a mother to my child if their mother wasn't in the picture, and I also couldn't fathom sending my kid to bed while I watched TV. But they were happy, and I can't say I wasn't happy. I've always been a very relaxed guy, and I can't say I questioned my missing father too much. I had a close family and didn't need a father. My father figure was my granddad. When I turned 15, my mum got cancer and was given a year to live. During her treatment, my grandparents moved in with my stepdad and me to help me lead a normal life. Mum survived cancer, but it has slowly affected her energy and health. But I'm 32 now and she's still with us. Let's now fast forward to 7 years ago. I met the love of my life and we moved in together for a few years. My significant other and my mum got on like a house on fire. So much so that when significant other got sick and couldn't work, my mum offered her home to us while she recovered, and while we saved for a house, and it's here where the cracks start to form. First off, it started off with small things we would hear, telling her neighbours that we were about to go homeless when we weren't, we were trying to save for a house and my wage could pay the bills but we couldn't save as well. A weird lie, but we let it go. And then one night, my mum called us for a family meeting the evening before they went on a holiday for a week. This meeting, my mum ripped into my significant other about how she was secretive in her diagnosis of what's wrong with her, and that she hasn't seen any medical evidence to back up what's wrong with her. My significant other had fallen the other day and taken a taxi to the hospital, and my mum was embarrassed she didn't get asked for help. After this, my partner and my mum's relationship died, and my mum never did anything to salvage it apart from a half-hearted sorry. However, we lived together, they were family. I supported my partner but didn't stick up for her as much as I should have. I regret this so much, especially now. 2020 hit, and while it was a horrific year for many, including my mum whose cancer took a turn for the worst, my partner and me would say it was one of the best years of our life. We were both furloughed or paid 80% wage to not work and stay at home, and the first weekend found out she was pregnant. We saved and moved into our first home, and our baby was born early Christmas Day on 2020. We ignored restrictions to bring him to my mum's house Xmas afternoon so we could eat, and because my grandparents were there as her carers, as she was struggling to even walk. So everyone got to meet the new addition to the family. Mum took photos of everyone with the baby, apart from my significant other, the baby's mother. My partner left upset, and I believed it was Mum not quiet with it as she was sick and probably didn't mean to. I know, what a fool. Many smaller things and fights happened here, and while I saw my partner's point of view, I didn't believe my mum would be this purposefully vindictive. The only one I really did stick up for my significant other for was my mum made a comment about me being a made man due to an inheritance we got after her mum died, 2 days prior. This I did rally around my partner, finally. With the birth of my son, I started to wonder who my dad is, more so I could be aware of any possible medical conditions than having a relationship with him. I asked my mum last year and got the same answer as usual. Married man, no pictures or number. This time my partner started looking into him. No record of his name in the school mum said she'd met him. The age didn't line up with how long people are at school for, so she got me an ancestry kit. Imagine my surprise when a member of my grandfather's family popped up on there. So last weekend I confronted my mum, who needed a few days to remember, and this weekend I got the results of this. And my grandfather is my father. The story my mum gave was so crazy, but I'll type it here. She was deeply depressed as she didn't have children. Side note, in the past she's told my significant other that when she had me she didn't want children. She was abused by her granddad. Her actual dad abandoned her and all relationships were not healthy. Her type was married men. So her stepdad, my granddad/dad, was the first nice person in her life, and they became so close friends that people would joke they were having an affair, but it was never like that. One drunken night out, she opened up to my granddad about why she was depressed and she wanted a baby. When he left the house, he left a deposit on the side for her, and she used that while drunk, but never slept with him. Then a week later, the married man she was seeing, who she always said was my dad, a condom, the same one we can find no record of, so they all forgot about it and moved on. Now the facts line up with the DNA, so I don't doubt him being my dad, but I don't know what to do with the information or where my head is at, and I would really appreciate any advice on what you think my next steps should be. A few of my scattered thoughts. 1. My mum must be an utter sociopath. Not only does she do that with her stepdad, in her early years she actively convinced my grandparents to move in with her while having an affair she must have known, or if the condom breaking on someone else is true, at least had a suspicion. How could a person with feelings and emotions do that to their own mother? Followed by letting this lady look after her and her affair child while she goes through cancer. My nan goes over monthly to check on her. If anyone can lie to her entire family like this and rub their faces in it like this, I can't see her as someone with feelings, and I don't trust her, at all. Even her husband doesn't know about this. Heck, while she met up with me to tell me this, she told her husband she was going to see my son. Her lies never end. 2. While I never realised how crazy my mum is, I knew she was a little nuts. My granddad, however, is a different matter. He has always been there, my rock when I was younger and dealing with thinking my mum would die before I hit 16. He's always so loving to his wife that the person I thought he was just wouldn't do this. But Mum's story is so disgusting, why would she lie? But as he is so sensible, why wasn't the advice go to a sperm donor, or bar crawl, dress up, buy a guy a few drinks and don't use protection? And 3, finally, what do I do with this information? I can't face my family knowing the whole close-knit dynamic is built on a lie. I'm tempted to tell everyone, but my grandma is a saint, and I can't imagine telling an 83-year-old, your husband and daughter have stabbed you in the back your entire life, you've looked after the woman your husband was cheating on you with, and they're a fair baby. I think at this stage of her life it may kill her. She's had such a hard life and just doesn't deserve to look back and see that every second of her kindness was wasted. If I could tell the world while protecting her, I would, but I don't think it's right my mum gets to walk away from this scot-free, and I think it's only right that my granddad should be told, if he doesn't already know. Mum says he doesn't, but I just don't believe that he doesn't at least have a suspicion. If I tell him without Mum talking to him, then I have the best chance of the real story. However, I rarely see him without my grandma, and I can pretty much work the real story out, and I can't help but feel this isn't my mess to clean up. My mum should tell him, and if she says I told him this story, I know it's an outright lie. So, my head is a mess, and my partner is too involved in wanting to protect me, so I could really use some impartial advice on what you guys think I should do. I want what's best for me, my significant other, my kid, and my grandma. Holy moly, of all the places I thought that would go, that was not it. Geez, what an absolute mess. Let's go to the comments. You don't need advice from strangers on Reddit. You need to talk to a therapist, because this is a serious mind freak. Opie says, do not worry, that is something I'll do soon. However, I'm going to wait until I've spoken to my granddad and dad and seen how deep this rabbit hole of frick-uppery goes. When the dust is settled, I'll get myself booked in. My partner is already looking for good ones nearby. Wow, that was a wild ride. I'm so sorry that you're going through this. It must be incredibly hard. Opie says, thank you. I'm still in shock. I still half expect people to burst through the window and I'm on some crazy reality TV show. Yeah, I reckon. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction, that's for sure. Okay, on to an update. Okay, it's been a few days and the shock has settled somewhat. I read everyone's replies and tried to answer them all, but it's been a busy few days. Original post is here for those who didn't see it. The 3 consistent pieces of advice were to get therapy, that my anger seems to be totally directed at my mum and not towards my dad and granddad, and to maybe consider that my granddad has groomed her from a young age. I want to assure everyone that all your comments were listened to. I will correct that it wasn't that I wasn't angry at him, but the shock of that bit hit harder. My mum and I always had a turbulent relationship. He, however, was my rock for my entire life, and this was so out of left field, and unlike the man I knew, that it took me a little longer to realize that this could very well be a form of grooming. I moved the situation forward by texting my mum my feelings. To shorten a very long text, it boiled down to 2 main points. 1. I don't believe your story, you need to tell me what happened. Was this an affair? Was it something more sinister? And 2. You need to tell my granddad/dad this. My mum's answer was very short. She didn't mention my feelings or ask how I was once, but told me she wouldn't speak to me about this again, that she was not groomed and this was her idea. She isn't sorry and it's my fault I'm hurt, as my investigation has forced her to tell the story. She will tell my granddad. The next day my granddad called me immediately. He sounded as I felt, shocked, confused, etc. My mum just said, I'm not as shocked as I thought I would be. He told me his version with 2 key differences, that it wasn't a deposit on the side, but Mum had pre-bought a kit that allowed artificial insemination, which is just as likely a chance of working as sex itself. He was convinced by her it was a good idea. He can't remember every argument as it was 33 years ago, but the 2 that sticks out are, you're the person I am closest to, and I trust you, and if I needed a kidney, you would give me that without hesitation. This conversation, along with a few beers, meant he went along with it. However, after he did it, he realised what an utter mistake this was, and told my mum this is a mistake, let's not do this. Bin it, and let's not talk of it again, as nothing happened. Mum agreed, said she would bin his sample, and he left for home thinking he avoided the biggest mistake of his life. Mum, of course, did not destroy it, as she said, and used it. In the eyes of my country's law, this is sexual assault. In my last post, I mentioned my mum was molested by her granddad and abandoned quite publicly by her birth father. Something I didn't mention against my granddad is he also had a rough childhood. His mother died when he was young and his stepmom was abusive. This has led him to forgive any mistakes his family makes and means family comes first without exception and to a fault. Because he views my mum as his daughter, he feels the villain of the piece as the understanding of mental health wasn't there, I didn't realise how deep her depression was, and I regret not telling her to see a therapist, and that he failed her massively for not doing so. He is also thinking of telling his wife immediately, but thinks I should have a say in that choice. He empathised with how I was feeling too, something my mum did not. I want to believe him, however, as I said earlier in this post, it's this relationship that will impact me more in losing, so I spoke to my partner for an outsider opinion, and she of course knows these people's traits and flaws. She agrees that this sounds plausible in an insane situation. My granddad's flaw in putting family first, my mum's manipulative and lying nature, while her story not lining up completely. There could always be the chance they had an affair or a drunken one-night stand that neither will admit to, but nothing has ever made my partner or me feel like there was any kind of spark or awkwardness between them to suggest this. My mum also always spins stories to make her look like the saint. The easier option would be to say this was grooming or assault as an easy out. Why make up this completely unbelievable lie as another option? A few people may wonder if my mum is that good at manipulation. There are many small instances, but let me just say the biggest. She once convinced my grandma and granddad to buy a house with her that none of them could afford on their own outside of their hometown. A couple of years later, she moved out. When I was younger, my grandma said, "You know how convincing your mum can be." And it's only by piecing this together when I was older, when she has tried to convince me with some very skewed point of view or outright lies, that made me realise that how she communicates isn't normal, but manipulation. So, next steps. My granddad wants all three of us to meet up Easter weekend and discuss if we tell the wider family. He's willing to tell his wife if that's what everyone wants, even knowing it will destroy his marriage. My mum hasn't contacted me since, so I don't know if she'll even come. If she does come to this meeting, I'll be using this as an opportunity to confirm if my mum did withdraw consent when we were all there. If she does admit this, then I'm inclined to believe this crazy story is true, and they were both monumentally stupid, and my mum has stabbed him in the back. The shock from my granddad is real, but also our relationship was real, and we were both in the dark, meaning I can't see a way of forging our relationship ahead. My mum, however, I do not trust, and if she admits to this, will also be admitting to sexual assault. I don't imagine her admitting this usually, but she has admitted thus far, only with no other options due to an ancestry test with that relationship. I don't know. I don't trust her. But then, she is clearly an old lady with cancer with very deep-seated mental problems. The old relationship will always be dead, but should I set new boundaries and try to form a new relationship with this woman, or just cut contact due to lack of trust? This I don't know yet. I'll also be setting my boundaries with her as far as the wider family goes. My granddad has stated I should get a say in whether my grandma is told. This is something I don't know the morally right thing to do. She's 83 years old, and this will destroy her, and will she even believe this crazy story? Probably not, as she was also abused by her father. So much abuse in my family has been uncovered with this, it's so sad. But then, if my granddad was sexually abused, is this fair to destroy his marriage? On the flip side, is it right to lie about something this big? This is a decision I can't make for my own mental health, and ultimately it's not my mistake to clean up after. So I'll be using this meeting to tell them they need to choose between them what the next steps are. My mum has effortlessly kept this lie from everyone in her life, so that will clearly be her choice. But my granddad, will he be able to lie to his wife with this? I don't know. I'll tell them that they need to choose, and I will go along with that decision. But if they change their mind, they need to tell me so I can prepare for any fallout. Our meeting will be in a week or two, so I'll leave a final update then. For now, I wanted to thank everyone who reached out and gave advice. I'll be getting to a therapist soon, so I can make a better informed decision and can make a clearer choice for what's better for me, my significant other, and child. Someone said I should marry my missus, as she had needed to put up with the brunt of my mum's insanity for 4+ years. To those I will say, you are right. She's absolutely amazing, and we've been engaged for a while. But COVID, a pregnancy which led to buying a house and our first baby, has put the delayed an actual wedding. But she truly is the best and been a rock throughout all of this. Okay, we're moving on straight away. Another update. It's been a few weeks and a lot has happened. So as I got such good advice from you guys, I thought I would tell you what happened up until now, and then I won't update any further. Before I continue, I feel I should clarify a comment in my older post. The title said my mum went from normal to narcissist in an hour. She has always been a narcissist. Often narcissists have a golden child and a scapegoat. I was the golden child, with no siblings to be a scapegoat. Enter my fiancée, and a scapegoat was found. In the last 8 years, her nature has become more and more obvious to me the meaner she treated my fiancée, and me being blind to it failed to defend my partner when I should have, genuinely believing it was my mum's poor communication skills, which I've been aware of for many years. Anyway, on with the update. My mum, granddad, and I sat down on Good Friday. My mum collaborated with my granddad's story, and she had stolen his sperm. I took on board what people said about her being abused for years, and so I decided to steer away from the act itself. It will always be in my mind that they maybe had an affair, which would mean she was groomed, as the truth they have presented is so bizarre, but it was over 30 years ago, and without it I wouldn't be here, if what they're both saying is true. So I turned the conversation into how we move forward. Originally I wasn't going to comment on if we should tell anyone or not, as it's their mess, but I know that my mum would argue for keeping it quiet, which she did, and not having an opinion when I know the outcome felt the same as having an opinion on it. So when they asked what I wanted to do, the deciding factor came down to a friend's advice she gave me. Will telling your grandma help you in any way? And no, it wouldn't, so I agreed to keep it quiet. My mum then accidentally told me that she had lied to my stepdad and told him I was preventing her from seeing my kid, which I thought was really not okay. I'm angry with her for a justifiable reason, and I'm trying to get our relationship to be somewhat salvaged, despite having no trust for her, and she's blaming me for this. So I told her she needs to tell her husband the real reason I haven't been as close. After this conversation, I had 3 days off work and wanted a bit of time and space to put it behind me, book some therapy, and spend time with my partner and kid, which never happened. That night, somebody tried to reverse a car through my neighbour's house in revenge of what the police told us was a petty squabble, and the neighbours got a rifle, guns are super rare in the UK, and shot at them. Of course, the police were called by numerous people in the street, and thank the gods my child slept through it, but my partner and I were nervous wrecks for a long time after, so goodbye relaxing weekend, and thanks for ruining Easter. After making sure my family was safe, I picked this family drama back up, and I met my mum and stepdad last weekend. This was to set clear boundaries in the relationship going forward. My trust in her has broken, and honestly, I don't think she has a long enough life left to rebuild it completely due to cancer. But my relationship is separate from her and my son's relationship, who loves his nana, and has been kept separate from all of this. I feel very distant from my close-knit family these days, but I guess that's what happens when they lie to you your whole life. My mum has given me an attempt at an apology, however weak. I've told her my feelings, which haven't been understood, and I've set new boundaries, which will probably be ignored, so I'll keep my partner's mother's advice to heart. If you can offer a relationship to just one person, knowing you will get nothing back, you will have led a good life. Then finally, as of today, my partner and I can announce that she's been pregnant throughout all of this crap storm, and due to the extra stress, we've been super nervous that the baby was okay. But in the first scan, the baby was moving around with a strong, healthy heartbeat. Thank you again, everyone, for the help and advice you gave me. That's good news. Straight to another update. After getting no advice on the last post, I figured there would never be an update to share. Throughout most of this, shock was the predominant feeling. Then, about 3 weeks ago, all the emotions hit me like a ton of bricks, and I really started to struggle. In November, my partner gave birth to a beautiful baby. She is tired getting up to feed him, and I didn't have the capacity to ignore her tired shortness and not take it personally. The UK health system is slow, and counselling only started 3 weeks ago, so I did not know how to heal or find forgiveness to anyone, despite my mum being very sick. But last Thursday, something big changed, and writing my thoughts down, but after not really knowing the rules of updating on each sub, I thought I would compile the post together and put the update here. Last week, after seeing how much I was struggling, my partner reached out to my mum to tell her how much it was affecting. My mum's reaction was, "Sorry, he is hurting. I wish he would talk to me, but won't. I don't want to hurt everyone by telling the truth." To which my partner replied, "As a mother, I'm sure you don't want to leave this world hurting your son. I'm not telling everyone you are leaving him the scapegoat, and she needs to find a solution." To my surprise, this worked, and she sat down and told my nana and her sister her version of the truth. My opinion. As soon as I heard my nana knew the truth, I wrung her and sobbed. However, the truth has lifted a huge mental load from me, and for the first time in nearly a year, I can think without a huge cloud over everything. I think this secret was leaving me more and more depressed, and while I was outwardly fine, it was taking an even bigger toll than I realized, and shock had saved me in all the last 3 weeks. Now the truth is out, I can function. My biggest issue was I felt like a sleazeball lying, but didn't know if it was the right thing to do. I can revoke my silence, but couldn't take back the truth, so I chose inaction until I knew what to do. But I'm not sure I ever would have figured that out. The other thoughts were if I'd waited for my mum to pass away, is it fair sharing this with her sister, who then has to sit with that knowledge without the opportunity to ask any questions for herself? I know I spoke in circles with friends, my partner, and did the best I could so I won't beat myself up too much, but I felt a physical weight lift from my shoulders when I knew the lie was out. I still don't believe their story, however. My mum keeps mentioning she thought my real dad was Robert from school, even though I know he doesn't exist. But at the least, this doesn't affect my identity. My Nana's opinion. My Nana remains a saint. She believed them totally, as she knows how dedicated her husband is to helping his children, and knows how bad my mum's mental health was. She loved her family and is happy for me that I found out my dad, and knows he loves me. She's disappointed with her husband for not telling her when he found out a year ago, but is happy that it resulted in me, as she couldn't love me more. She's sad I needed to deal with this while raising a baby, and didn't think it was fair on them to put me through it. I named my baby after her, as she's amazing. My aunt's opinion. My aunt reached out to wish me well, and no, nothing is affected in our relationship by my parents. She found out yesterday a little later. She's lost a lot of respect for her sister and stepdad, but knows she loves her family, even if she is disappointed and her trust is shaken. She has criticised that they made me stay silent as it will kill my Nana, and thinks that was cowardly and wrong of them, but knows she needs her family, and my mum in her poor health needs her. She's told her children, and told them it's up to them if they believe the story or not, so that's the end of it. I bought a few self-help books, got a therapist who is helping, and just trying to rebuild after a year of hell. My mum probably only had a few months left, but then she had until I was 17, and I'm 32 now, so we shall see. But with the truth, I can at least start forging a small relationship based on truth. However, I doubt it will ever be as strong as it was, just because she doesn't have time to rebuild it to that. Ultimately, what my aunt said really rang true to me. It's a shame, because even if the story is true, nobody will ever believe it, and they will live with that stain on them forever. And now for a final update. It's been nearly a year, and I'm posting this on my profile so I can provide an update to the best of sub, as so many commented and helped. I replied to many, and then stopped and didn't return to the post. About a month after the last post, on 20th of February 2024, my mum passed away. She was surrounded by family. My aunt and I don't talk much anymore. My Nana thinks it's because she's busy with building her house, but I imagine the awkwardness my mum caused is too much. She doesn't text back Happy New Year, etc., so we will see. She did forgive her stepdad, saying he's always been a wonderful father. My Nana and Papa are still together. Nana trusts her husband and daughter and believes they would never hurt her by way of affair. I still visit my stepdad, Mum's husband, semi-frequently, and while he's still stoic and forgetful, we are closer than we ever have been. It's like he took a back seat to let my mum always be in the spotlight. He has to live in care now to make sure he's looked after. My free therapy sessions ended the week my mum died, and I couldn't afford more. My mental health was pretty low and struggled for a long time. I was constantly checking my phone, unfocused, and felt stressed all the time. I couldn't be bothered to engage in many hobbies apart from eating and gaming. December, I exploded, acted like a complete ass to my partner who very nearly dumped me, and it would have been deserved. Despite me lashing out, it was a release that I desperately needed in hindsight. After this, I've been a much happier person and with a lot more brain space, patched things up at home, have started losing weight and enjoying my free time again. My eldest is 4 and missed his Nana titch, but now loves seeing his grandpa wheels. Thank you, truly, everyone who helped me and supported me on Reddit. It was really needed and I was very lost. Talking to you guys who were angry, shocked for me, and spoke to me really helped when I felt I had no one. Okie dokie folks, and we've finally reached the end of that story. I mean, this whole family is just something else, but I'm glad they came out on the other side of it. But I'm going to hand it over to you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this one. Plenty to say, I'm sure. Anyway, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.